By 1965, the Little Western had been open for several months and was doing well. Aside from solid freight and passenger traffic, the line did a roaring trade in oil deliveries. From the storage site at Waterton, tankers were brought to Tidmouth before being transferred to the mainland. Unfortunately, this prosperity was marred by a rise in vandalism. Indeed, the entire island had experienced a spike in hooliganism thanks to a police strike, one that dragged on as negotiations with the council repeatedly failed. The entire force hadn't walked off the job, but it was operating at a severely reduced capacity. This gave the vandals free rein to break and smash things, and I'm sorry to say, the railway was one of their favorite targets. And you didn't wake up when it happened? Yes, I did, but I told them to keep going. What do you think? Right, that was a stupid question. How'd they get in here? And how'd they get up there? Sometimes I really admire their determination. I said sometimes. Did you call the police? We did, and a single copper showed up. He was here about 10 minutes and left, saying, "We'll do what we can with our limited resources." Bloody hoodlums. None of this would have happened if the council just gave the police what they want. That's a terrible idea, Toad. If you're too accommodating, you give them all the power. Based on what you've told us about occupied Europe, living in a police state sounds terrible. Come on, Wendell. We're a long way from that. Are we? Regardless, I think we can all agree if the police don't come back soon, things will only get worse. What did you do? My driver pushed it aside. We tried to call the police at Callan, but got no answer. They were probably at Knapford. Those bloody hoodlums smashed up some of the coaches and tagged my tender. What'd they write? Something that reminded me I'm a war criminal. When the coppers had a look, I heard one of them say, "Sounds about right." That's pretty poor form, but understandable. You can't have much sympathy for a crook, and I don't deserve it anyway. Sorry, I didn't mean to whine. Is my train ready? Yes, that's it on track 2. Alright, thanks. Bloody hoodlums. More like bloody points. They were jammed. Are you serious? I thought you lot fixed them. Be fair, Donald, it was before my time, and it's a sad fact anything mechanical will break down eventually. I suppose. It's still annoying. The funny thing is, I was due to come in next week for an overhaul. Then we might as well kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Oh, sorry, Rob. Didn't see you there. How are you settling in? Very well, thank you. I can tell I'm going to love it here. Excellent. Donald, allow me to introduce the new superintendent of Croven's Gate, Mr. Robert Hall. Nice to meet you, Mr. Hall. Please, call me Rob. And we have actually met before. We have? I'm sorry, I don't recognize you. I didn't think you would. I was about 8 years old when you last saw me. My brother and I watched you go by with the goods train. Our father was the guard. Is that so? What was his name? Great Scott! Seriously? No, I just noticed the time. I have a meeting with Sir Topham soon. I have to leave or I'll be late. Good luck. Thanks, Derek. Nice seeing you again, Donald. You too, I suppose. Hall. Ringing any bells? Not really. I've known several blokes by that name over the years. Maybe they all had the same father. Some of them, it wouldn't surprise me. What can you tell me about this one? Career railway engineer who's worked all over the country. He's helped design several of BR's more successful locomotives, both steam and diesel. He's also said to be a whiz when it comes to repairs and overhauls. Why'd you wish him luck? Because I know why he's going to see Sir Topham. He has this special project he wants to get off the ground. I can't say any more, but it sounds amazing. Well, if that's true, I'm sure Sir Topham will be interested. Indeed he would be, as would the rest of us when we learned about it. But that is a story for another day. However, Robert almost didn't make his meeting because hoodlums let a flock of sheep out of their paddock. Yes, I'm afraid the vandalism continued as the strike dragged on. As feared, each act became more destructive and disruptive. Alright, either these bloody hoodlums are ghosts or we're just heavy sleepers.
Either way, it's damn annoying. How long until it's fixed, Derek?
Maybe an hour.
But I have to take the kipper in 15 minutes.
Sorry, Henry, we can't work any faster.
Bother! Don't worry, Henry. I can take the kipper for you. You can? Well, I'm literally the only one who can leave the shed, so why not? Aye, why not? Thanks, Jeffrey. I owe you one. Not at all. This is rather exciting. I can't remember the last time I took the flying kipper.
Have you ever?
I don't know. Assuming I haven't, do you have any advice for me? Be on time and don't crash into anything.
The best advice one can give an engine.
Yes, quite.
Was there no hope, Derek? No. According to Mr. Hall, Jeffrey and his crew were likely killed on impact.
Oh, God. It should have been me.
And I'm very glad it wasn't. So am I. Do you have any idea how it happened? Yes, we do. Naturally, we were saddened and incensed by Jeffrey's death, and we weren't the only ones. The public was fed up with the escalating situation and began pressuring the police and council to come to an agreement, which they did. With the force returned to full strength, they began cracking down hard on vandalism. Many of those bloody hoodlums were arrested, including the ones who attempted to derail William. However, they swore blind they had nothing to do with what happened to Jeffrey. Of course, nobody believed them, but as would be revealed, they were telling the truth, and I'm sorry to say, the real culprit was only just getting started. Something I forgot to mention in my last batch of stories was that following the Great Storm of '63, construction began on a road bridge to the mainland, and by an extraordinary stroke of bad luck, it was completed the day of Jeffrey's crash. Many of our passengers looking to reach the mainland chose to drive or take the bus in order to avoid delays. Even after the line was cleared, a good portion didn't come back. Our freight services also took a hit as the island was invaded by an army of lorries, and I'm sorry to say, not all of us took this downturn in stride.
Stupid nonsense.
What is?
The foreman just told me this train's been cancelled. The client has decided to go with them. I wouldn't have brought these vans over if I'd have known. I'd have had a breakdown or something.
Too bad you didn't. I'd be able to do my work in peace.
Bug off, Onslow.
With an attitude like that, it's no wonder the client has gone elsewhere. It's got nothing to do with attitude. They're only using you because you're cheaper.
What's your point?
Now, if you'll excuse me, I have work to do.
Git.
What's worse is his lot are actually doing us a favor. Did you know we lose money on most of our goods trains?
No, I didn't. Who told you that?
My driver, a friend of his, works at Control. He said most of Sodor's freight traffic operates at a loss. It's really only the bulk items like oil, coal, and lumber that do well.
Then why do we handle anything else?
Contractual obligations, many of which have expired recently. Since they weren't renewed, Control has been able to streamline operations, which is proving to be a terrific economy. It's rather bizarre how doing less work is making us more money.
I'm sure the same can't be said for our passenger trains.
You're right about that. We're down to using a single coach for most services. If the numbers get any lower, we might start using towed.
Which we probably will. Have you seen the new double-decker they brought in? What's that pile of driftwood doing here?
Driftwood? Pile of driftwood?
That's right. No wonder people aren't travelling by rail. You belong in a museum.
I may be old, but I'm still useful.
As what, a hen house? Go turn yourself into the scrapyard, love. You passed it.
Don't talk to her like that.
Defending your lady love. How sweet.
All right, what's going on here? You causing trouble again, Polgy?
I told you to stop calling me that. I will when you stop giving them grief. Pah! I shouldn't be surprised a relic like you was standing up for them.
Where do you get off calling me a relic?
Pipsqueaks like you were alright back in the day, but now you're too small in size to be of any use. That's why they brought in big, strong lads like me.
With an attitude like that, your career will definitely be a short one.
But longer than yours. One day railways will be ripped up. Don't believe me? Go check out George's handiwork.
This might be a good time to talk about the other developments on Sodor. In my story about beaching, you may recall how the good doctor closed down several facilities. By this point, most had been decommissioned and auctioned off. These properties were turned into business or housing estates. George had been involved in several of these projects and revelled in every minute. His latest one involved working along the Little Western, which posed a unique set of problems.
Hello, Ollie. Like what I've done with the place?
Can you call the police, Sam? Why? Because they missed rounding up some vandals.
This isn't vandalism. It's progress. There's been a lot of it these past few years. Now that the bridge is done, I imagine there'll be a lot more to come.
In your dreams.
I'm living the dream, mate. I'm turning no good railways into something useful. God bless Dr. Beeching.
That might be the second most offensive phrase I've ever heard.
And what was the first?
Heil Hitler. Now that I think about it, he and the good doctor had a lot in common. Both had a single-minded vision that caused a lot of pain and suffering, and both had mindless fools supporting them.
I don't have to listen to this. I have work to...
Uh-oh. You great clumsy roadhog. That was your fault.
No, it wasn't. It was yours.
I'm sorry, but how was it his fault?
He distracted me. He basically called me a Nazi. That hurt almost as much as the time he ran into me. When was that? Back when I helped build this branch. I had to grade the line. It was very humiliating. Me and Oliver were at a job site one day. We got into a tiff while I was crossing the track. He lashed out by running into me.
Rubbish! You deliberately blocked his way.
How do you know?
Because I was there. You cut him off and refused to move, and he didn't run into you. He barely tapped you.
It must have been a hard tap because I broke down the next day. He and Duck laughed at me when that happened.
The swine. With brutes like that in their ranks, it's no wonder people are avoiding the railway.
Not everyone. There's been a change in the schedule, Bulgy. Tomorrow, you and me will be bringing a load of rail fans to Tidmouth. What? Can't you manage that on your own? No, I can't. There's too many. Oh? Sounds like you're too small in size to handle the job on your own. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, if it gets you to behave, fine, I'll agree. Dispatch will give you the details in the morning. Good night. Rail fans. Why do people waste their time looking at those antiques instead of modern wonders like us?
Search me. Too bad there isn't a way we can spoil their fun.
Oi, get off the track! What do you think I'm trying to do?
Looks like you're just sitting there. What's the problem?
I felt a sharp jolt while crossing and my engine stalled. Don't you know you're supposed to keep these things in good nick? We've a case against you. There's nothing wrong with the track. This is deliberate.
And that's slander. I'm a witness. Pah.
How are we doing, Sam?
On time. That's what makes it so criminal.
I'll give you one more minute and I'll shift you myself. Good luck with that, old man. I'm full of rocks. Nope, it's no use. Can't you push him out the way?
I could, but it's funnier if I don't. Fine, I'll move him.
You can't do that!
Can't I? We'll have the law on you. What's your point? Stop him!
You're insured, aren't you?
All right. I'll move him. Suffering stacks.
Fizzling fireboxes.
Hurry up! Oi! I'll do you for that! Roll on, me old beauty! All aboard, ladies and gentlemen.
Why, you mean scarlet deceiver! I know you had something to do with this.
The only thing I'm guilty of is doing my job. You should try it sometime. Don't worry, I'll get them to Waterton faster than you ever could.
Rubbish! It's much further by road.
Yes, but I know a secret shortcut.
What secret shortcut?
I guess you don't know the meaning of the word secret. Is that why they call you Duck? Because you're a bird brain? Ooh! Well, the Brothers Grimm smashed, scuppered, and squished. So that was your shortcut? Must have been a real secret if you didn't know it wasn't big enough. I thought I'd fit. Looks like you were wrong. I guess being small in size isn't such a bad thing after all. Wouldn't you agree, Rupert?
Several heads rolled that day, let me tell you. Oliver and George were severely reprimanded for their duel, but only the latter was sent away. It seems that was the last straw for the Steamrollers' managers. He would spend the rest of his days building motorways across Britain. Bulgy was also sent packing, as people avoided him like the plague. I don't know what happened to him, but I like to think he's a henhouse now. In such a state, he can surely do no harm. As for Onslow, I'm pleased to say he learned sense. He still works on Sodor and is a much kinder chap who's willing to work alongside us when necessary. Even though his company did take a lot of our goods work, the changing nature of the industry meant we would recover on that front, and in a very big way. Our passenger traffic would also recuperate thanks in large part to the bridge. More people were now able to visit the island much easier. Since most of them were rail fans, they flocked towards us. From that point on, every excursion we ran was fully booked. Indeed, we had to put on extra trains to keep up with demand. Unfortunately, there was a downside to the increased presence of rail enthusiasts. For as long as there have been railways, there have been those who admire them. When not attending excursions, these enthusiasts can be seen along the trackside, often with a camera in hand. And like I said last time, the new bridge enabled more of them to visit Sodor. But like I also said, this caused problems. While most rail fans pursue their hobby in a sensible manner, like every group, there's always a minority that act like pillocks. Did he think Henry wouldn't mind? I don't think he was thinking, period. The git actually asked Henry if they could go pick up the kipper. Another Railway Series fan? So it seems. Whistling fireboxes. I don't know how the lads deal with that. Well, they recognise just how important they've been, and a part of me has to wonder just how many people would visit Sodor if not for those books. And I quite like 'em. Really? Aye, before coming here, my crew would read them to me. I always loved hearing stories about Henry. Did you ever believe them? No, I knew my Henry. There's no way he'd hide in a tunnel because of rain. Come on, Emily, we need to get going. Before you do, take care with those trucks. They've seen better days. I'll say, can't the NCB afford to fix them? They can barely afford to keep this place open. I'm not surprised. We haven't been meeting our quotas lately. Why not? The mine's running out of coal. I don't know how much is left, but if we stay open another 3 years, I'll be very surprised. Here's hoping to another 3 years then.
You're sure?
No question. It was Halifax. Oh, wacko. Who's Halifax? Avery Halifax. The epitome of everything wrong with rail enthusiasts. Why? What's he done? One time he was trying to take my picture and thought it would be a good idea to stand on the main line while doing it. I was coming along that same track with the express. Somehow, he didn't hear me coming. If I hadn't blown my whistle, I would have run him over. He's done similar asinine things elsewhere on the island, and the coppers can't do much but slap him with a fine. Since he's rich, he's able to pay them and move on. He's also very popular amongst the engine crews. He often hangs around with them at the pubs to buy them drinks. How come Sir Topham doesn't just ban him from the railway? Because I don't have the authority to do that. Oh, good evening, Sir Topham, and... Wilbert? Wilbert Audrey, is that you? Hello, Gordon. It's wonderful to see so many familiar faces and meet new ones. How do you do? I'm Reverend Wilbert Audrey. Nice to meet you. I'm called Boko. And I'm... Wait, Reverend Wilbert Audrey? As in, author of the Railway Series? A series currently in its 20th year of publication. You heard about that. Even if the papers hadn't been talking about it, we can do basic maths.
Congratulations on such a milestone, Wilbert.
Thank you, Henry. I couldn't have done it without you and the others. That's partly why I'm here. The Reverend will be spending the next 2 weeks on Sodor. Over that time, we'll be running special rail tours where he'll be travelling alongside the passengers.
That's bound to draw in the crowds.
What about Halifax, sir? I'll be issuing instructions to all engine crews to limit contact with him on railway grounds. As for the rest of you, keep your eyes open. Permission to wheesh steam at him, sir? Permission denied.
Wow, these photos are great. Aye, how many times were you almost killed taking them? Emily! No, it's all right, Hugh. I'm sorry about the other day, Emily. It was very poor taste to take your photograph while you were indisposed. I don't care about that. I'm just worried you'll get yourself killed before long. I appreciate your concern, but I'll be fine. I've had plenty of close calls on Sodor and the mainland, and I'm still here. You're going to rely on luck to keep you alive? Bust my buffers. You really are a pillock. Well, thank you very much. If you'll excuse me, I'll be on my way. See you chaps at the pub later on. Thanks for embarrassing us, Emily. You're ticked off at me? How can you stand that twat? It's easier to stomach someone when they buy you drinks. Fizzling fireboxes. Humans are so easy to bribe. Perhaps I should have offered you something to follow Sir Topham's orders. Old fat hat has no right to say who we can and can't talk to, on or off the railway. Come on, we need to get to the mine. I know it looks bad. No, Kate, this looks like a disaster waiting to happen. What are you even doing filling up these wrecks with coal? We didn't have a choice. The brake blocks jammed on the trucks we were going to use. These were the only ones available. Are they even serviceable? They look older than me. The lads checked them over and the BR representative signed off on their use. And for what it's worth, I didn't have any problem shunting them. I'm sure they'll be fine. I'm glad you think so. You alright, love? After killing a man? Not really. Rubbish! It wasn't your fault. Those trucks should never have been used. I don't know what Kate was thinking. She was told they were safe. She couldn't have known otherwise. I shouldn't have taken them out to begin with. And I shouldn't have wished steam at Halifax. Maybe he would have seen the trucks coming and moved out the way. And maybe he would have stayed away entirely if two of my staff hadn't kept encouraging him. Sir Topham, we didn't think... No, you did not. If you had, you wouldn't have disobeyed my orders. And you certainly wouldn't have called me old fat hat. How did you... Shut it! I want to see you both in my office immediately. As for you two, I shall talk to you later. I'm sorry to say the death of Mr. Halifax cast a shadow over the rest of Wilbert's time on Sodor. If there was a silver lining to be had, that tragedy served as an example to enthusiast how not to behave. The number of problems we had with them decreased dramatically after that. However, there was some fallout. For starters, Emily's crew was sacked. She and James were also reprimanded. Mr. Halifax's family filed a lawsuit against British Railways and the National Coal Board. I'll talk more about that in a future story, but suffice to say, the mine wouldn't have to worry about running out of coal. You may recall one of the many goals of BR's modernisation plan was to dieselise the entire network. In the years since, thousands of faceless steamies were sent to scrapyards all over the country. Among these locations was Kildane, which did a roaring trade turning engines into piles of metal. Fizzling fireboxes. This is surreal. I'll say, to think there was a time when steam ruled the nation. Now look at them. Oh, I'm looking. When did they break him down? A few days ago. They'll do his tender tomorrow. Such a shame. Jeremy was a good man. Jeffrey. What? His name was Jeffrey. Oh, right. Sorry. Senior moment. Times certainly are changing. I know what you mean. Feels like only yesterday I was working on the Great Northern Railway. Then it was the London and North Eastern Railway. Now it's British Rail. Don't you mean British Railway? Oh, you hadn't heard? BR recently shortened its name to just British Rail. What? Why? I have no idea. I haven't tried to make sense of BR's decisions since 1955. Count yourself lucky you're privately owned. And I should get back to work before the owner sees me lollygagging. See you later, Horace. Henry. Right, sorry. Another senior moment.
Afternoon, Sir Topham. Good afternoon, Mr. Hall. My word, I have never seen a non-fascist vehicle in such a wretched state. I'm amazed he's even alive. So am I, sir. I'm even more amazed how nobody noticed before Neil gave him a bump. What do we know about him? His name's Barry, and he worked around Norwich. That's on the other side of the country. How did he end up here? According to the transfer records, he's been bouncing around scrapyards since he was decommissioned in 1958. What? He's been left to rust? For 7 years? How the bloody hell was that allowed to happen? And who decommissions a non-fascist steamy without cause? There's no shortage of names attached to the file, sir. I'm sure some are more accountable than others. I plan to hold all of them accountable. In the meantime, I would like to speak with Barry. Of course, sir. This way, please. Barry, this is Sir Topham Hatt, controller of the Northwestern region. Hello, Barry. Nice to meet you.
You too, sir. Blimey, I always wanted to visit Sodor, but not like this.
Understandable. Do you have any idea how you ended up in this condition?
Last thing I remember was going in for some minor repairs. They gave me green water and I was out like a light. Next thing I know, I'm waking up here. Is it really 1965, sir?
I'm afraid so.
I don't understand. Why was I left to rust? What happened?
I don't know, but I'm going to find out. And when I do, I will personally destroy the careers of the imbeciles responsible.
Thank you, sir. What'll happen to me now?
You'll be transferred to our workshop at Crovan's Gate for repairs. Mr. Hall, make sure Barry is afforded every comfort. Absolutely, sir. Don't worry, Barry. We'll have you...
You'll have me...
Oh, sorry. We'll have you fixed up in no time. Mickey, get him ready for transport.
Right away.
Can you repair him, Mr. Hall? Yes, sir. The reason I hesitated was because a thought crossed my mind. Do you remember our meeting about my special project? You mean Barry? I thought you wanted to test it on one of my engines first. I did, sir, but that would mean taking one of them out of service. Given how busy they've been, that might not be a good idea. And using Barry as a subject is? The one good lesson I learned from my uncle was to always seize opportunities, but a better lesson I learned from my father was to always ask before doing something. May I at least ask Barry if he's willing to undergo the procedure? All right, but you will explain it to him in detail, and if he says no, we will wait for another opportunity. Is that clear? Crystal, sir. What do you think?
That might be the balmiest thing I've ever heard. What steamy in their right mind would want to do that?
This is meant to help steamies, and if it works, it will.
If it works. I don't fancy being used as a guinea pig, not after 7 years in a bloody coma. Find some other chump.
All right. We'll fix you up using conventional means. That won't be a problem. I'm sorry for upsetting you.
You didn't. It's just...
This is a lot to take in. I can't imagine. We do offer psychological services. Mickey is... Could you say that again? That shipment of parts you ordered has been delayed. How delayed? I don't know. Dispatch can't find them.
Bollocks! If we don't do something soon, Henry will be dead in a day or two.
Could we send him to another workshop? It's too risky to move him again. I guess we'll have to improvise. We can comb the scrapyard and pick out what we need.
With all due respect, Rob, that does not sound like a good idea.
I've done it before.
How many times?
Twice.
Were they successful?
The second time was. I realize it's not ideal, but like you said, Mickey, if we don't do something...
Derek, get some trucks ready sharpish. We need to pay the scrapyard a visit.
Oh, that's such a relief. You should have seen Emily. I think she was about to cry out of happiness. She won't be the only one. Using salvage parts to save him. Genius. This Mr. Hall sounds like a clever chap. Ugh! You disagree? No, I just remembered I meant to ask him about his father. Rob said he used to work for us as a guard, but didn't mention his name. Does it ring any bells with you, Edward? Well, there was a porter named Gregory Hall who worked for us on the LNER. Mr. Starr sacked him for gross incompetence. After that, he became an angry drunk whose wife disappeared under mysterious circumstances. Despite all that, the council allowed him to adopt his nephews. Why would he need to do that? I understand their parents died. I don't remember how or what their names were. All I know is Hall moved away with the boys not long afterwards. Now that I think about it, his brother-in-law might have been a guard for your group, and I do remember one dying back in the day. What was his name? Ugh, this is going to drive me mad, and I dare not ask Rob about it. That might be for the best, but if that was him, he's done well to carry on despite such tragedy. How's he doing? Stable. The lads say he could stay this way for several weeks. Fortunately, he won't have to. Dispatch found those parts. We should get them tomorrow.
Here's hoping. And I'm sorry for doubting you, Rob.
No need to apologize. It was a flip of a coin if my idea would work. Excuse me, Mr. Hall. Please, Barry, call me Rob. All right. Rob, can I talk to you? Of course. How are you doing? Fine. I'm eager to get fixed up, though. And we'll get started the moment those parts arrive. About that, I want you to test your idea out on me. You do? Can I ask why you've changed your mind? To be honest, I said no because I didn't think you could pull it off, but watching you save that chap using scrap metal, I now see how good you are. And like you said, if it works, it'll help out steamies everywhere. Maybe then they won't end up like me. In that case, I'll inform Sir Topham and we'll proceed from there. Thank you, Barry, and good luck. I'm pleased to say the procedure Barry would undergo was a complete success. I'm also pleased to say Sir Topham got to the bottom of how he ended up on Sodor. At the same time he was undergoing repairs, a faceless member of his class was also present. This engine had been decommissioned, and somehow its paperwork got mixed up with Barry's. Since BR was in a rush to scrap its steamies, nobody double-checked them. Fortunately, the names of everyone involved were clearly marked on the files, and true to his word, Sir Topham decimated their careers. As for Henry, his repairs would go smoothly. He was laid up at the works for many months, during which time Donald covered for him on the main line. I wish I could say his crash was truly an accident, but it wasn't. They found evidence the track had been tampered with. Unbeknownst to us at the time, the culprit was the same one who killed Jeffrey. Despite the harm he had already inflicted, he still wasn't done with Sodor. The Halifax lawsuit was a huge pain for British Rail and the National Coal Board, one that was thankfully dismissed by the courts. Nonetheless, an investigation was launched into the tragedy, which ended at Maron Heights. A number of violations were discovered at the mine, and given how little coal it had left, the NCB decided any sort of repairs were uneconomical. Therefore, they closed it down. When that happened, the locals mobilized to save it. After some lobbying, the facility and its affiliated infrastructure were declared a heritage railway. I'm pleased to say it had no trouble receiving support from private investors and members of the public. It was also able to acquire some engines in the form of Neil, Clive and Matthew. The trio had just celebrated their 100th birthday, where they announced their plans to retire. Before the railway could be open for business, it needed to be brought up to code. Together with an army of volunteers, they set to this task with great vigor and delight.
What are you grinning at, Clive? This, the three of us working together. I can't remember the last time we did. Must have been when we extended the main line during the First World War. Fizzling fireboxes. That feels like a lifetime ago. And now here we are again. I know. Terrible, isn't it? Rotten swine. I'm surprised you agreed to retire, Matt. You always hated the idea. Well, I couldn't leave you two geezers all by yourselves. And I have to admit, working at the lumberyard was getting too much. You should see the size of the wagons they're using. I could barely move the things. For me, the trucks were manageable, but the pace wasn't. It was exhausting. I wish I could say I was tired of my work, but the truth is I lost my nerve to keep doing it. Because of Barry? Yes. I kept wondering if the next engine I tried to scrap would suddenly wake up, and I couldn't stop wondering what if some didn't. Did I scrap some poor steamy who was simply unconscious? You can't imagine what it's like wondering if you killed someone. Some of us don't have to. Bust my buffers. I'm so sorry, Matt. I completely forgot about... It's fine, Neil. Don't worry. That's in the past. What matters is the future. And my immediate future involves checking the track at Greendale. And I need to shore up the embankment when Carly gets back. Kate. Right. Sorry. Senior moment.
Oh, hi Kate. Hi Thomas. It's been a while. Yeah, it has. How have you been? Good, good. Keeping busy. How about you? Same. I'm sorry, Kate. I really am. The way I spoke to you was horrible. You didn't deserve it. Well, maybe I did. The way I treated you was pretty bad. I shouldn't have been so jealous. You never gave me a reason to distrust you. Sounds like we both cocked up. Yes, it does. So, what now? I'm not looking to get back together. Are you? No, but maybe we can be friends? I'd like that. I really would. All right then. So, friend, are these my trucks? Yep, 1 order of builder's grade stone. How's it coming on your new line? Oh, I don't work for them. You don't? No, after the mine closed, the coal board sold me to BR. I'm on loan to the MHCR. MHCR? Maron Heights Coal Railway. That's what they'll be calling themselves. Anyway, once it's up and running, I'll be going to work on the Little Western. Really? That's wonderful! Congratulations! Thank you. I'm really looking forward to it. As much as I love my old job, it got so boring at times. Now I'll have some variety. I'm sure I would have gotten that by working on the MHCR, but I'm far too young to retire. Matter of opinion. Rotten swine.
Morning, Matt. Morning, Pat. How are you? I'm fine, thank you. I see your little railway is coming along nicely. Of course it is. Me and the lads built the main line. This is child's play. Speaking of children, how are yours doing? Wonderful. Howard gone to Oxford and Gwen is pregnant. Really? That's terrific. You and Louise must be so... Oi, Matt, we need you to back up. Kate will be coming through soon. No worries. What's the matter, Carly? Kate, right, sorry. Senior moment. What's wrong? Do you know if Matt's feeling all right? Who? Matt, your brother? I have a brother? You have two. I do? Come on, Neil, this isn't funny. Neil? Oh, hello, Carly. Is that the stone we need? Yes, but my name's not Carly. It's Kate. It is? Sorry, Senior, Neil? Neil, are you talking to me? Neil, what's my name? What's your name? I don't know. SS? Apparently. Fizzling fireboxes! How bad is it? Moderate, but Mickey's confident they can fix it. He said he wants to check you and Clive to make sure you're alright. That's a good idea. I can't imagine anything more terrifying than losing your mind. Are you sure yours is sound? Of course! Why do you ask? Partly out of concern, and partly because when I saw you at Greendale yesterday, it looked like you were talking to yourself. I wasn't. I was talking to an old friend of mine, a local postman named Patrick Clifton. Didn't you see him? No. Perhaps you should get your eyes checked. Oi, Kate, we just got word those girders were dropped off at Maron Heights. Can you go fetch them? I reckon she's got dodgy eyes, like my Louise. I always have to twist her arm to get her to put on her glasses. If I tried that with Kate, she'd twist my smoke box inside out. Anyway, how's Jess doing? Don't mention that black and white furball. I hate that bloody cat. So, have I lost my marbles? Not today, it seems. That's good to know. Thank you, Ralph. I'm joking. Rotten swine. Your mind is as strong as your productivity. No wonder you've managed to build all of this so quickly. I hope Neil is able to enjoy it as much as the rest of us. He will. His case wasn't as advanced as we thought. He'll be right as rain in no time. I just need to examine Matt now. Any idea where he is? He's over at the mine. Say, Clive, do you know a postman named Patrick Clifton? Patrick Clifton? Oh, there's a name I haven't heard in a long time. Where did you hear it? From Matt. He said he spoke to him yesterday. What? What's wrong? Mickey, you need to see him right now. Hey, Clive, look who's here. He doesn't look happy to see me. I don't know if I can do this, Mickey. It's better if it comes from you. If what comes from him? Matt, how long have you known Pat? About 10 years. When did you first meet him? 1915? And what year is it now? 1960? Wait, you never were any good at maths. You're right, I'm not. Not what? Good at maths. Pat just said. Didn't you hear him? No, I didn't. Maybe you need your ears checked. There's nothing wrong with my hearing, Matt, and I doubt there's anything wrong with Kate's eyes. What are you saying? I'm saying, where is Mr. Clifton? I'm right here. Yes, he's right there. Can't you see him? No, because there's nobody there. Is there, Clive? No, and it can't be Pat because he died in 1925. I'm not dead. I can see that. You saw him die, Matt. You blame yourself for it. Shut up, Clive. Matt, I know you remember. No, it can't be. Can it? No, it isn't. I don't want it to be. No, please, don't do this to me. Not again. What? Where'd he go? Pat? Pat, where are you? Come back! I'm sorry! I'm sorry! It wasn't your fault, Matt. It never was. I don't understand. I don't understand. It's all right, Matt. Don't worry. We'll take care of you. SS, or smokebox syndrome, is the most terrifying condition that can befall a steamy. Its symptoms include memory loss, intense confusion, and hallucinations. Despite how severe it can be, treating it is relatively simple. I'm pleased to say Neil and Matthew were cured of this affliction. Even so, both were rattled by the experience, especially Matt. You see, he blamed himself for Patrick Clifton's death. Back in 1925, he accidentally bumped into a wagon whose load hadn't been secured. By unlucky chance, the postman had been standing underneath when it came crashing down. It took a lot of therapy, but Matt was able to overcome his guilt and live with the memory. After that whole ordeal, the engines were able to get back to work. A few months later, the Maron Heights Coal Railway was open for business. Its fleet, now bearing a brand new livery, reveled in taking visitors along their scenic line. They also put on demonstrations and hosted special events, ensuring the MHCR was a huge success. Kate would go to work on the Little Western, where she had some difficulty adjusting to conventional railway life. This is hardly surprising considering she had worked in a coal mine for several decades, and every engine knows such an environment doesn't foster a delicate touch, which was largely the problem. She was too rough with her trains. This led to many complaints from passengers and goods clients. After a nasty incident involving an oil tanker, Kate was very worried about her future. I'm so sorry, Sir Topham. Well, it wasn't entirely your fault. That tanker was due for maintenance and should have been taken out of service. However, we need to address the issues you've been having. I don't know what to say, sir. I'm trying. I really am. I don't know why I'm not improving. I might have some idea. I think you're suffering from a lack of proper oversight. With all due respect, sir, I disagree. The lads have been helping me whenever they can. The operative term being whenever they can. I'm fully aware how busy this branch has been. Now that I say it out loud, throwing you into a high-paced environment without supervision is a recipe for disaster. For that, I apologize. I think temporarily assigning you to a line with less traffic and a dedicated instructor would help. What do you think? I think that's a terrific idea, sir. Where would I go? How was that, Mary? Superb, Toby. Good work, Kate. Thank you. Wow, that's the first time a coach hasn't called me a pillock. So what is this train we're pulling? It's a new rail tour that ends at Farquhar with a couple of stops along the way. A couple? But I thought Beeching shut down most of your branch. He did, but some of those places have been reopened as tourist attractions. This should give you a chance to practice starting and stopping. Remember what I said about both? Slow and steady. Exactly. All right, here we go.
How'd she do today, Toby? Aside from a few hiccups, very well. Good job today, Kate. Thank you, Toby. You're a really good teacher. He sure is. He taught me everything I know. Well, I tried to. How do you like our branch line, Kate? I love it. Getting to see it after all these years is amazing. But I didn't see Percy at all. Where is he? Up at the quarry. He drew the short straw to fill in for Clive after he retired. Permanently? No, but they've been a little slow replacing him, which has caused several problems. Not only are we slightly short-handed now, but industrial work isn't exactly Percy's cup of tea. Bush my buffers, Percy. If you bump those trucks any harder, they'll fall to pieces. Good. Maybe that'll liven things up around here. What do you mean? I mean, nothing exciting ever happens. It's just stone, 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 and trucks, trucks, trucks. I'm bored, bored, bored. I can't believe Clive didn't lose his mind doing the same job day in, day out. And I can't believe you're having such a hard time of it. Half our jobs involve taking stone along the branch. Right. Half our jobs along the branch. We're not cooped up here for months at a time. How did you manage working at the fort without going balmy? Sometimes it was a struggle, but an old sailor once told me, excitement is surprising. You never know when it'll happen. Otherwise, it wouldn't be surprising. It would be surprising if something surprising happened. Oi! Fizzling fireboxes! Who are you? I'm Mavis, the new engine. New engine? They finally got one? They didn't tell you I was coming? No, but I'm glad you're here. I'm sure you are. I can't imagine a little goblin like you can handle all this stone. When you get off calling me a goblin? I mean, you're such a tiny fellow that it's almost cruel they got you working here. His size doesn't mean he's useless, and the chap Percy is filling in for was a lot smaller. And who are you, old-timer? I'm Whiff. What kind of a name is Whiff? It's a nickname I got tagged. All right. I didn't ask for your life story. So you're Percy? You're the chap I'm looking for. The manager said you can clear off. I'm taking over now. All right. You don't need me to show you around? This isn't the first quarry I've ever worked in. I'm sure I can manage. I've got a bad feeling about this. Me too. Where's my train? It's not ready yet. Fizzling fireboxes, that's the third time this week. I don't know why you changed the system we had. Because it was old and needed improvement. You called this an improvement? It looks like you've thrown the trucks into the sidings with your eyes closed. So I've got a few kinks to iron out. Well, iron them out faster. Trucks should be where you want them, when you want them. We have a schedule to keep and don't have time to play hunt the trucks with you. If you keep causing delays, the Fat Controller will be very annoyed. That's your problem. I don't answer to him. That won't stop him from having a word with your manager or you. Oh, I'm shaking in my side plates. You will if he shows up. Fiddlesticks! I'd have an easier time of things if you and the others stopped hounding me. Maybe if you let us help you, I can manage. I don't need old busspots like you holding my hand. All right, fine. If you're so perfect, when you finally get my train ready, you can take it yourself. Are you all right, Mavis? Yes, just a little shaken. I don't know what happened.
The brake pipes burst. The blocks should have engaged when that happened, but most of them didn't due to damage.
What sort of damage?
It looks like someone bumped them extremely hard. Do you have an explanation for that, Mavis?
No, I'm very careful with my trucks, I swear.
Regardless, we'll have to inspect the others to make sure they're safe. Until then, nothing leaves the quarry.
Fiddlesticks! What am I going to do in the meantime? You can have a word with me. I was coming up to speak with you anyway. What did you want to talk about? Your conduct since you arrived. In short, the lads aren't too happy about it. Cuh! Another gaggle of fusspots judging me. So this has happened before? In every quarry I've ever worked in, I try to change things and the old guard get all up in arms. Not only that, they think they know best and always tell me what to do. Has it ever occurred to you maybe they were trying to help? Old-timers like me know a thing or two. That doesn't mean I'm an idiot. You're right, it doesn't. But let me ask you something. Do you think you know everything there is to know about railway life? No, I guess not. But what does that have to do with anything? I can remember being young too. I thought I was infallible and didn't need anyone's help. That got me into trouble many times. You seem to have turned out all right. Only because I started listening to those with more experience. When that happened, I began making fewer mistakes. Over time, I began to develop and implement my own ideas. If they worked, great. If they didn't, I was willing to concede defeat. Well, I haven't been defeated yet. Mavis, can you honestly say your new system has made things better? No, it's made things worse. All right, it's good you're willing to admit that. I know how we can fix it. If you want, I'm more than happy to show you. All right, good. We'll start first thing tomorrow. I'm sure the safety checks will be done by then. Wow, I can't believe it. This works so much better. Thank you, Toby. Not just for this, but for saving me too. It's what I'm here for, and we're very glad of it. Hello, Percy. What are you doing up here? I wanted to see Mavis. I heard you had some trouble yesterday. That might have been my fault. I bumped the trucks pretty bad and likely damaged them. I'm so sorry. It's all right, Percy. No harm done. I mean, it wasn't fun flying down the hill, but it could have been worse if Toby hadn't been there. You're pretty strong for an old-timer. Maybe, but let's not do that again anytime soon. The Fat Controller's not going to be happy with you, Percy. No, he is not. Oh, good morning, Sir Topham. So you're here to scold Percy, which I already have. Now I want to find out why there have been so many delays out of here recently. That was my fault, sir. The way I had things arranged wasn't the best. I see. I trust you've helped rectify this, Toby? Yes, sir. As you can see, the sidings are in order. Excellent. Mavis, follow his example. Toby has forgotten more about trucks than you will ever know. Yes, sir. I believe that. You should also believe I do not like confusion and delay. Please don't let this become a habit. I won't, sir. I'll do better. I swear. I'm pleased to say the young 04 was true to her word. Now more receptive to taking advice, she was able to get the quarry back in shape. Over time, she did make some changes that improved efficiency, so much so she would have to take the trains herself on occasion, or double head them with the others. As for Kate, she spent a couple more weeks training before returning to the Little Western. Thanks to Toby's tutelage, she became an invaluable member of her new branch line. All the complaints stopped, and she was as happy as can be, especially after receiving a new coat of paint, one that I think suits her very well. Don't you? When the mine at Maron Heights closed down, we had to start importing coal from the mainland. The engine that most often handled these jobs was Francis. The Class 46 would deliver trains up and down the line, dropping off trucks along the way. While he carried out this assignment well, I'd be lying if I said he did so without a fuss. How humiliating! Shunting dirty trucks filled with dirty coal into dirty sidings. What a waste of my talents! Same bollocks, different day.
I wouldn't expect a lowlife like you to understand, James, but engines such as I are above certain jobs. I swear, if I ever meet the tosspot who designed you, I'm gonna kill him. If you say so. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'll be on my way.
Actually, Francis, there's been a change in the schedule. James will take your train the rest of the way. I need you to cover for me.
And why is that? Has your reversing gear jammed again? Oh dear, I really pity you, Steamies. There is so much that can go wrong with you. I assume your next train is trucks?
Specifically, those ones.
The Flying Kipper? Surely you jest.
Surely you go.
Oh, fine. Fish. I can smell it from here. How does it compare with ditch water? Very droll, James.
What happened? His cooling system failed. He claims it was caused by handling too many goods trains. Ha 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 ha. Same old Francis. Do you know him? Yes, I helped design him.
You've got to be kidding.
What was that, James?
Nothing, sir. So this is Barry?
Yes, indeed. Barry, allow me to introduce Gordon, James, and Reginald. I believe you've already met Donald.
Yes, sir. Nice to meet all of you and to see you again, Donald.
Likewise. Bust my buffers. You look a hell of a lot better than the last time I saw you.
I feel better too, and it's all because of this genius. Thank you, Rob. Looks like the experiment is a success.
What experiment? Well, for the past few years I've been working on a procedure to improve the performance of non-faceless steamies while simultaneously reducing the running costs required to maintain them.
Is this your special project, Rob?
It is. I call it Steam Diesel Conversion, or SDC.
Which means what? That despite appearances, I'm actually a diesel.
You're going to have to explain that. Certainly. Basically, Barry has a diesel-electric motor installed in his boiler that powers all of his gears, and instead of coal and water, he runs on oil stored in his tender. And it works?
If today was any indication, yes. I had such an easy time of it dragging Francis and his train to Crovan's Gate, and I barely used any fuel. I think we can pop the champagne early, Rob.
Settle down, Barry. I agree the initial results are promising, but we need to conduct a lot more tests before we can celebrate. And so the experiment began. All over the island, Barry carried out a variety of tasks aimed at testing the effectiveness of steam diesel conversion, and by all indications, it was very effective. He was faster, stronger, and more fuel efficient than he ever was as a steamy. In fact, he was faster, stronger, and more fuel efficient than many of us. This caused some concern he would let this superiority go to his radiator, but I'm pleased to say it didn't. Barry was a remarkably humble and helpful chap. In between tests, he would take extra trains for us. Indeed, he was very eager to work, perhaps a little too eager.
Come on, Rob, this train's due to leave in 5 minutes.
Take it easy, Barry. We're still performing the final checks.
Why do we have to do this every time?
Because collecting data is the second most important part of an experiment.
And what's the first?
Ensuring the test subject is safe. We'll be done soon. Don't worry. Now that's a man who cares.
I know. I just wish I could take a train without being fussed over.
I know the feeling. During my trials back on the Northeastern Railway, I was so eager to show off what I could do. It landed me in hot water many times. And a rubbish tip once.
A rubbish tip?
Yep, I was speeding along and came off the track. I rolled down a hill and landed in a pile of garbage. After that, everyone used to say they could tell I was coming because of the whiff. They started calling me that so often they probably forgot my real name, which is what? Ignatius? Can I keep calling you Whiff? Of course. All right, Barry, everything checks out. We're good to go. How come you stopped?
According to Rob, my engine was running hot. I told him bollocks. That was nothing compared to the heat my fire used to make. He said that might be the problem. What's hot for a diesel may be mild for a steamy. I think he's being overly cautious. I don't. It takes very little for a motor to overheat. If that happens, the results can be disastrous. Take my advice, Barry. Pace yourself and only handle the jobs you've been assigned, not the work of those less capable. What's that supposed to mean? It means you should stop fobbing your work off onto Barry. They're not fobbing off anything, Francis. I want to work.
Now that is the sign of a really useful engine. You should follow his example, Francis. You can start by taking the goods train you've been assigned to handle.
Oh, fine.
I don't agree with how Frank said it, but he has a point. You should slow down a wee bit. Learn to rest once in a while.
I've rested enough, Donald. I need to work.
If you say so, laddie.
Rattling radiators, you look terrible.
I feel terrible. Ugh, I think it's the coal. Something's off about it.
You're in no condition to work.
I have to. I'm already late to pick up the kipper.
Don't worry, I'll take it instead.
Are you sure? Should we ask Rob about it?
He won't be here for another 20 minutes. I'm sure he won't mind. This is an emergency after all.
All right, but remember, I know, take it easy. I'll be fine. Are you all right, Barry?
I've been better, so that's what a hot motor feels like. I'll remember that. I'm sorry, Rob.
Don't be. I'm the one who's sorry.
Why?
When I arrived at Knapford, I spoke to Donald. He told me about some of the things you said, and I'm kicking myself for not conducting a psychological examination on you before starting the experiment.
You think I need one?
Let's find out. You told Donald you need to work. Why?
Because I've been in a coma for the past 7 years?
Does that make you angry?
Of course it does. A couple of pillocks cocked up my paperwork, and poof, my life is gone.
And overworking yourself will change that?
No, but at least when I'm busy, I don't have to think about what happened to me.
I see.
What does that mean?
That we have a lot of work to do. He was right about that. The experiment was put on hold while Barry underwent treatment. It took some time, but he was able to work through most of his issues. When he returned to work, he was still helpful, but not compulsively so. He also completed the remaining tests without incident. BR was impressed by the results and adopted steam diesel conversion into its maintenance program. Over the following years, countless non-faceless steamies would have it done, myself included. Aside from improving performance and reducing running costs, SDC increased our longevity, just as Robert hoped. He was thrilled his project had been so successful and proud to learn that many referred to steam diesel conversion as the overhaul. I'm so sorry, Angela.
God, this is a nightmare. What am I going to do?
If it helps, Mike had life insurance through the LMS. I will personally see to it that you're compensated.
Thank you. I can't believe this. How am I going to tell the boys? Tell us what? Robbie! Hello, darling. You remember Mr. Zorro, right?
Yeah. Good afternoon, Mr. Zorro. Hello, Robert. How are you?
Better than Sean. He got held back after school for starting another fight. Christ almighty, that's all I need. What do you mean? What's wrong, Mum? Why's Mr. Zorro here? Where's Dad?
They found her? So it seems. The police reckon she was strangled. I'm sure my Uncle Greg had something to do with it.
Did he ever say anything?
No. The one time I asked about Aunt Rita, he broke a beer bottle over my head. And when my brother asked, let's just say I got off easy.
I'm sorry to hear. Hopefully he'll be brought to justice.
He already was. Someone shot him outside his house 5 years ago. They never found his killer, and I hope they never do. He had it coming. Did you know my aunt?
I'm afraid not. I didn't even know she disappeared until Edward mentioned it recently. You might want to ask him about her, though.
All right, I will. I hope he can tell me something. I barely remember her, but I like to think she was a kind woman. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to burden you with my problems. How have you been feeling, Donald?
Since you cleaned out my firebox, great.
What about you, Barry? Any issues?
Not anymore, thanks.
Well, let me know if that changes. I have to go. They're holding a memorial for my aunt later today.
And I thought I'd been dealt a bad hand. Can you imagine being raised by someone who might have killed a family member? No, and I don't want...
Oh, bother!
What's wrong? I meant to ask him about his father, but forgot. You mean Michael?
Wait, what? How do you know him?
I don't, but Rob told me a bit about him when I was being restored. He didn't say much other than he was killed in an accident, so now might not have been the best time to ask questions. Good call, laddie. Good call.
What happened, Peter?
Nothing, sir. I was just a little short on steam.
That's the third time this month.
I'm sorry, sir. I've just been feeling run down lately. I don't know why.
I think the problem might be your workload. Since your return, most of the trains you've pulled have been fuel deliveries. I know that's why you were brought back, but constantly hauling such heavy trains over a distance might be starting to take its toll.
Maybe, sir. If that's the case, what can we do?
Well, I can assign some of your colleagues to handle the fuel trains for a while and put you on lighter duties. And I know just the thing. I was reviewing your record and discovered something interesting. You're the only engine on Sodor that's never pulled coaches.
You cannot be serious!
I beg your pardon, Francis.
I apologize for being so blunt, Sir Topham, but do you really think it's appropriate to assign someone with his background to passenger duties?
If you had asked me that a year ago, I would have said no, but it's apparently what the people want.
It is, sir?
Yes, you're quite the popular attraction among rail enthusiasts. I've had many inquiries asking if you can run an excursion or two. That's exactly what I'm going to do. I will charter a special train for you to pull.
What will it be called, sir? The War Crimes Express?
Change of plans. Francis shall handle the fuel trains exclusively for the next week, and if you open your mouth again, I'll double it. So, Peter, are you interested?
Yes, sir, I am. Thank you.
How are you feeling, Peter? Better than him?
Don't act so smug, Peter. All this proves is people are willing to turn a blind eye when it suits them, which is nothing short of disgraceful, disgusting, and Don't you dare! Oh, fine. No need to be so proprietary.
And no need to be such a pillock about all this. I know what I did, Francis. I'm not proud of it, and I did my time. Why are you taking this so personally?
Because I met one of your victims.
What?
When?
You better not be having me on.
I'm not. When I was at Barrow the other day, I was approached by a gentleman from Germany. He wanted to know if you were the same Peter that fought in the war. I told him yes. He then said when he was a boy, his family took refuge in the hospital you destroyed. Did he mention his name? Luther von Huss. Oh, Jesus. You know who that is? Yeah, while I was at Railgate, I made sure to memorize the names of the people I killed or injured. I remember Karl, Frieda, and Olga von Huss. Karl was one of the soldiers who occupied the hospital. As for Luther, he was 9 years old at the time. He was pulled out of the rubble with a broken leg. That explains his limp. Did he say what he was going to do? No, but I suspect he wants to confront Peter. So you best prepare yourself for an unpleasant conversation. Don't worry, I've had plenty of experience from talking to you. Caw, the sheer audacity of that brute, pot calling the kettle spam can. Very droll, Gordon. I don't understand. I always thought it would take more than 3 bullets to kill an engine. It might have, sir, if not for his metal fatigue. What? He had metal fatigue? Yes, sir. We discovered it during the autopsy. It was rather mild, but it would have impacted his performance. The bullets hit him in exactly the right spot, or the wrong spot, as the case may... Mr. Hall? Hello, Topham. Good afternoon, Nigel. Thank you for coming. Thank you for letting me be here. Poor Peter. Hadn't he suffered enough? I doubt his killer thought that. How the hell was he able to smuggle a gun into the country? What monkeys do we have watching the border? Rest in peace, old friend. Amen. Nigel, allow me to introduce Mr. Robert Hall, Superintendent of Crovan's Gate. Mr. Hall, this is Nigel Zorro, former Director of LMS Sodor Operations. I'm sorry, have we met? Yes, though I was a child at the time. My father worked for you. Is that so? What was his name? You said we would be compensated. You said you would look into it personally. And by doing so, I've discovered some troubling discrepancies in our finances. These need to be sorted out before we can make any payment to your family. How long will that take? Maybe a month?
We can't wait that long. We're already behind on bills and the mortgage. We're in danger of losing the house. I'm sorry, but we need to sort out these issues. Perhaps there wouldn't be any if you didn't dip your hand in the till. I beg your pardon. Mike told me about some of your dealings. I'm sure the papers will be very interested to hear you've been embezzling from the railway, and our lawyers will be very interested in suing you for slander. Are you prepared to take on the full might of the LMS? Didn't think so. You'll get your money, or you won't. I guess you'll have to wait and see.
God, this is surreal.
More like bollocks. The man survived the Western Front, he survived the Blitz, he survived bloody cancer, only to get gunned down by some mongrel. Maybe the Jerry that snuffed Peter escaped and went on a rampage. I said the same thing to the coppers at the scene. They said he's still in custody and will likely spend the rest of his life in prison. Good riddance, I say. I'll second that. Fizzling fireboxes. First Jeffrey, then Peter, now Mr. Zorro. They say bad luck comes in threes. I'm praying this means it's over. Despite Fort Sudrian's closure, the Navy was still a common sight on Sodor. Every so often its ships would make port to take on supplies, and every time they did, it was all hands on deck, as these jobs were very chaotic and labor intensive. On this day, I had arrived at Brendam with a train meant for the HMS Krakatoa. Normally a straightforward and simple assignment, but it had been a rough journey, real rough. To make matters worse, I was about to suffer through an audience with the officious Pratt overseeing the operation.
Attention! Attention! You, Edward!
Attention, nothing. I'm finished here, old chap, so I'll be on my way.
Oh, no, you don't. Not till I've checked things out.
Check all you like, Chumley. I'm needed elsewhere.
You're under Navy jurisdiction. Obey orders and await my inspection.
I am under jurisdiction, Sir Topham Hats. A khaki cad like you doesn't tell me what to do.
Need I remind you, Lieutenant, that I am a colonel?
And need I remind you, Colonel, that I haven't been a lieutenant for 20 years? Now, if you'll excuse me, and even if you won't, I'll be on my way.
Oi! Get back here at once. That is an order.
Ta-ta!
Upstart, citizen. One of these days I'll show you the true meaning of discipline, and then you'll know what following orders are all about.
Blimey, that Benson, he's orders mad. Orders come before common sense in military terms. I've had a row with him too, Edward. Keep those trucks in line, he shouts, as if I've never shunted anything before. Report to me when you're finished, he says. Does he think I'm too old for this work? I think he thinks he's the only competent one here, which is absolute bollocks. Have you noticed they're loading munitions and taking fuel aboard the same ship? That's dangerous seamanship if I ever saw it. Indeed, but it's likely quicker and cheaper than using two different ships. Well, Toby, old chap, I'm going to have me a rest at the coaling depot before heading out. It's been a hard morning and I'm feeling a bit low. And I better get back to it before...
Keep them in line, straight as a row of Marines. I'll check them out after I complete my inspection.
What did we do to deserve him?
Oi! Oi, you there! Mickey, what are you doing? I'm standing by in case of emergencies, as is protocol. Is there a problem? Indeed there is. You're blocking the line. This track needs to be kept clear to receive incoming traffic, so shove off.
He's a brave one trying to boss the chief about.
more like balmy. Nobody tells Mickey what to do. Well, I do, and I'm in charge, so obey orders. First off, you desperately need therapy. And second, I don't follow your orders. Oh, we'll see about that, laddie.
What did they say to him?
Basically to sod off.
Good. What's that khaki cad's problem? He's power hungry, plain and simple. I saw it several times in the service. The wrong people got a taste of authority and abused the hell out of it. Thank you for not being like that, Sir Topham. My pleasure. All right, engines. Servicing naval maneuvers are in full effect. The Skarloey Railway has already started bringing munitions down from Krosny Kern. Bruce and Eric, you two will collect them from Croven's Gate and bring them directly to the Krakatoa. If Benson gives you any grief, blow him up. But with your hooter, Bruce, you don't need to be that forceful.
In all seriousness, sir, what do we do if he gives us different orders?
Then you ignore him and refer him to me. Thomas, Francis will be dropping off a fuel tanker here later today as part of his usual run. It too is meant for the Krakatoa. You'll take it on once it's arrived. In the meantime, keep this yard in order. And Percy, I want you at Brendam immediately to help shunt the trucks. What about me, sir? The scrapyard at Barrow is overloaded. The owners have sold a sizable amount to Kildane and need help transporting it. I'm sorry this isn't the most glamorous job, but it is important. It's all right, sir. Happy to do it. Will I be handling this alone? No, your co-worker is likely already there. Who is it, sir? Henry, welcome back. When did you get out?
A few hours ago.
Bust my buffers. You look great.
I feel great too, but if I never have a crash like that again, it'll be too soon. Bloody hoodlums tampering with the track. Please tell me the coppers caught them. Sorry, Henry, no such luck. I heard they talked to you about it. Aye, they wanted to know if I saw anyone lurking about before the crash. I told them no. Then again, I was barely conscious at the time.
Barely conscious? I'm surprised to hear that. When I saw you at the works, you looked like you were at death's door. I also had a strange feeling of deja vu. I'm not sure why. Say, Terence, if you knew the coppers spoke to Henry, does that mean you know other things about their activities? Like, say, Mr. Zorro's murder investigation?
Come on, Donald, you know I never gossip, much less about police matters. All right, fine. They don't have any suspects. They did recover the bullets during the autopsy and determined the weapon used was a World War I service revolver.
What? Really? Hello, Rob. What are you doing here? Checking to make sure none of these engines are alive. Terence, are you absolutely sure about the weapon used?
If my sources can be believed, yes. What's wrong?
My father had a service revolver from when he fought in the First World War. It went missing after he died. Perhaps I... Again, Francis?
I'm afraid so, Robert. I had to thrash myself to get here on time. That was bad enough, but the situation at Wellsworth was intolerable.
Do I dare ask?
Attention! Attention! You, Francis, where have you been? This train should have arrived 10 minutes ago.
I'm sorry, but I've been having mechanical issues, and the workmen have been rather negligent in fixing me.
It's always our fault, eh, Frank? Never ends right, Eddie.
You sure you're not a steamy, Francis? The amount of heat you're putting off feels like you have a firebox instead of a motor. The only fire here, I can assure you, is the one I will light under your heels if you don't get a move on.
Ooh! Built up! Just fix this span can so we can get out of the way. Thomas, the moment he's gone, grab that tanker and head down to Brendam.
Yeah, I know what I'm supposed to do.
Do not take that tow with me, Corporal, or I'll have you shunted for insubordination. I'll also have you shunted if you don't deliver that fuel on time.
I'm always on time, and you know it.
I only know what I can see, and I have seen only idleness from you Sudrians. How you can be considered the shining star of British rail is beyond me.
It's because we do our jobs without acting like tossers. You should try it sometime.
That's enough, Corporal. You have your assignment, so get some smoke in your funnel and some steam in your pistons. Mobilization, that is what I want, mobilization!
God, to think there was a time when I used to complain about the middies being pillocks. Did you really need to include that?
You asked, Donald. God, Benson, I can't stand that khaki cad. What an insufferable bore he is. I would do anything to avoid another encounter with him.
All right, you can do the scrap work then. You'll fit in well amongst this junk.
Very droll, Henry.
I'll be glad to get rid of this lot.
Attention! Attention!
Oh no, here we go.
Oi, you! The black box on wheels, move it!
Hey, what, you talking to me, mister?
Yeah, you, mister. Move that train. My load's first.
You shouldn't move a train that's being unloaded.
Nobody's talking to you, old-timer. This is my operation. I say what goes. Bah!
You do well to listen to Toby, mate.
Too right. He knows what's what, and so do the rest of us. And we're not moving that train, mister. You will if I order you to, and I do so order.
Hey, what's going on here? Schedule says I'm next.
And don't you start, laddie. Wait your turn.
What? I arrive on time just like you said, and now I have to wait?
That's right. There's been a change in the schedule. My load's first, so move that train on the double.
Do it yourself. It's literally right in front of you.
All right, I will. Benson, stay back. That train is unsafe. Do not give me orders. If I want to move, I'll... What? How'd that happen? You dummy. Oh no, back up quick. All right, everybody, stay calm. The situation's under control. The hell it is. I know what's in those bands. Get clear, the whole thing's gonna blow. Emergency, emergency. Clear the area immediately.
Jesus Christ, look at that! Is there anything that isn't on fire?
You think that's bad? Just you wait. The Krakatoa is already burning, and she was fully loaded when that khaki cat started this, which is why we need to combat the blaze directly and contain the spread. To do that, we'll need your help. You've all had fire training, so it's time to put it to good use. Percy, take those water tanks up to the station. Try and keep it from burning down.
On me way, sir!
Eric, start dousing that shed. Keep it and those trucks from going up in flames.
Yes, sir. Right away, sir. I'll do my best, sir.
Derek, follow me to the Krakatoa. We'll see if we can save her.
Yes, sir!
That's all we need. The petrol's caught fire.
And that tank's fully loaded. I'll take it out of here.
Don't do it. Stay back. If that blows, it'll take you with it. And if it blows here, it might take us all out. Mickey, give Thomas a hand. He's burning up. We don't have any water tanks to spare. Get that thing out of here quickly.
What do you think I'm doing? I'm not here to keep warm, you know. Thomas, are you mad? Don't worry about me, Percy. That's a little hard to do since you're practically holding away a bomb. That thing's gonna blow me. Just leave it, will ya? I'll be okay.
Cut the chatter, Percy. Keep dousing the station.
Yes, sir.
How are you going, Eric?
I can control it, sir. Don't worry.
All right, keep at it. Derek, we need to move up further. I can't. My engine's cut out. Damn it. Toby, Bruce, front and center on the double.
Oh, this is really hot and really hard to move. Oh, the brake blocks must be melting together. This is getting too dangerous. I've got to get out of... Thomas! That's Thomas! The tanker! He...
Stay put, Percy.
But he may need help!
Stay where you are. All right, lads, we'll need to move back. She's going to keel any second. There's nothing more we can do. Stand clear, everyone. Stand clear. She's going.
Oh, look at the state of the dockside.
Yeah, that's nothing. If you lot hadn't stepped in, the fire could have spread throughout the harbour and beyond. Well done, all of you.
Don't celebrate just yet. We still need to worry about Thomas.
Right, let's go.
This is absurd. Why do I keep breaking down, Robert?
It looks like there's a defect in the manifold of your cooling system. How we missed it the last time, I don't know. But I promise we'll...
Excuse me, Mr. Hall.
There's a telephone call for you. Take a message. I'm busy.
The caller said it was urgent. They're from Wellsworth Realty. I say, what about me? Ugh, there goes the integrity of the modern workforce.
So you got it? Well done, Rob. How do you feel?
Oddly serene. What do you mean by that? I used to live in that house when I was a boy. My mother died there. When I heard it was up for sale, I decided to visit out of morbid curiosity. I didn't know what to expect, but I was stunned that I felt happy. All of my best memories come from that place, so I decided to put in an offer. Now it's mine. Well, What was that? I don't know. It sounds like it came from Brendam. Perhaps someone's having a dockside celebration.
No, if there was a party, I would have heard about it.
Has the day finally come where something slipped by you, Terence?
Bite your tongue.
I must say it's a beautiful sunset, except the sun went down ages ago. And that's south, not west.
Fire!
Come on, chaps, we better head down. They might need all hands. How is he, sir? Not good, but Mr. Hall and his men are doing their best to save him. Then we have nothing to worry about. After what they did for Barry, Barry didn't have a petrol tanker blow up in his face. Ugh, bloody Benson. If he wasn't already dead, I'd kill him. You'd have to get behind me first. All right, engines, settle down. I understand your feelings, but we need to focus. We have a lot of work to do to repair the damage done here. On that note, take extra care when hauling away any scrap. Not just run exploded ordnance, but body parts. Body parts? Yes, Benson wasn't the only one who died. A number of dock workers and naval personnel were caught in the blast. How many? Last I heard, 23. Jesus Christ, I'm almost afraid to ask what next. Here's an idea. Don't. Well, he's still touch and go. How's the investigation coming? Slowly. We're having a lot of difficulty trying to figure out how all this started. No offense, Derek, but there isn't much mystery. Benson banged those trucks, blowing half the docks to hell and killing 35 men. 35? That's where it's up to. Fizzling fireboxes. Rest in pieces, Benson, you miserable bastard. Percy! No, Toby. I don't care if it's in poor taste to badmouth the dead. That khaki cad caused all this and put my best friend in the works. And the worst part is, he won't pay for it. He got off easy.
Benson, stay back! That train is unsafe! Do not give me orders! If I want to move, I'll... What? How'd that happen?
Aye, how did it? What was that, Toby? I don't think Benson was responsible. How can you say that? You saw him bump that train. A train that was on track 1, but it was the vans on track 2 that started burning. Oh my God, you're right. They were directly in front of you and me, Bruce. You had to have seen it. Yeah, I did. But why did they only start burning after Benson bumped that train? It could have been a coincidence. Regardless, we should report this to Mickey. He's at the scrapyard processing the wreckage.
I see. That would square with our findings. The blast did seem to emanate from a point more towards the center of the pier, but I doubt we'll ever be able to determine how it started.
Why not?
If there was any evidence, it would have been destroyed.
Well, at the risk of pointing fingers, the factory at Krusty Kern does have a history of mishandling munitions. Perhaps we should send some people up to... What's that?
High ground! Clear out! Move back, lads! Ah, damn it! My valve kit is jammed! I'll get him! Stay put, Toby. I've got this.
Mickey, what are you doing? Move!
No. Please tell me he's going to be all right, sir.
He will be, Henry. Donald suffered only minor damage. He'll be out of the works in a few days. We have Mickey to thank for that.
It took real bravery to make such a sacrifice. Indeed, we lost a true legend today. What about Thomas, sir? How's he doing?
I spoke to Mr. Hall while I was at the works. He told me that Thomas did not survive his injuries.
What?
I'm sorry, Percy, but our number 1 is gone.
What's going to happen to his remains, sir?
The scrapyard at Kildane is closed until further notice, and the one at Barrow is still overloaded. Therefore, his body will be transported to Barry Island in Wales. Francis will be taking him there tomorrow as part of a long-distance goods train to Cardiff.
I'd like to be there, sir, to say goodbye.
Of course. Anyone else who wants to pay their respects may do so as well. Don't worry about any scheduling conflicts. I'll deal with that.
Did he suffer?
No, he was unconscious most of the time. We also made sure he was filled to the brim with green water.
That's good. You know, the first time I met Thomas, I asked him to help bike me up Gordon's Hill. He was a real cheeky blighter back then and said, "All right, but I don't accept Hargis' payment." He was taking the piss, of course, and helped me out even though I was from a rival company. And when I worked on the Farquhar branch, he never hesitated to help whenever my engine failed. He was a good man. So was Mickey. Yes, they were.
Donald! Donald!
Terence, what is it?
Sorry to come barging in like this, but I have news about Mr. Zorro's case. The coppers got a match on the bullets that killed him. They traced back to 2 possible murders. One was against a bloke named Gregory Hall.
Wasn't that Rob's uncle? Wait, why'd you say 2 possible murders?
The other one is from 1938. The investigators at the time were certain it was a suicide. She was drowning in debt, the bank had just taken her house, and the gun was registered to her husband, who had recently died. But since the weapon was never found, they couldn't say for sure she killed herself.
What was her name?
Angela Creedy.
I was about 8 years old when you last saw me. My brother and I watched you go by with the goods train. Our father was the guard. I meant to ask him about his father, but forgot.
You mean Michael?
There was a porter named Gregory Hall. He became an angry drunk whose wife disappeared under mysterious circumstances. The one time I asked about Aunt Rita, he broke a beer bottle over my head. My father had a service revolver from when he fought in the First World War. It went missing after he died. When I saw you at the works, you looked like you were at death's door. I also had a strange feeling of deja vu. I'm not sure why.
What was his name?
Michael Creedy.
Did he have a family?
Aye, a wife and 2 boys.
Son of a bitch!
What?
I know who's behind this!
Donald? What's going on?
You're Michael Creedy's boy!
Yes? Didn't I mention that? Who's Michael Creedy? He was one of our guards back in the day. He died in 1938 after a faulty signal caused Henry to crash into the back of my train. Mighty odd coincidence we both had accidents the same year you arrived. Do you blame us for killing your father? Was Jeffrey just in the wrong place at the wrong time? Whoa. Settle down, Donald. You're acting balmy. No, I don't blame you or anyone else. I know what happened to my father was an accident. Did you also know the gun that killed your mother, uncle, and Mr. Zorro belonged to your father? Yes, I did. The coppers told me after I told them about my father's gun. What Terrence said made me wonder, so I reported my suspicion to the police. I was shocked about my uncle and Mr. Zorro, and I'll admit, I hated them both. My uncle because he beat me and my brother every chance he got, and Mr. Zorro for not compensating my mother. I think I know why. Around the time of that accident, he discovered our chief accountant was embezzling from the railway. Wait, he wasn't lying? Who wasn't? Mr. Zorro. I saw him at Kildane the day Peter died. I told him who I was. I wanted to know why he didn't pay my mother. He told me about the accountant. I thought he was lying, so I told him to sod off. But you're saying he wasn't? No, it took months to straighten out our finances. Sounds like you had a strong motive to kill him, but I have an even stronger alibi. I was at the scrapyard all night breaking down Peter's remains. When you derailed, I was here supervising the repairs of the coaches that had been vandalized. I was also here when Henry crashed. We had just brought in Barry. Didn't you see me? Fizzling fireboxes. I did. And I suppose if you wanted him dead, you wouldn't have bothered trying to save him. What about the explosion at Brendam? A mechanically minded man like you would surely be able to do something. No, I wouldn't. I don't know anything about munitions. I swear, I had nothing to do with any of this. I don't want revenge on anyone. I'm not that type of man.
What about your brother?
Oh, God. And just like that, it was over. No justice, no retribution, and only a tentative sense of closure. Sean Creedy didn't leave behind a note, so it was unclear how much of Sodor's hardships were his fault. However, the weapon he used on himself was matched to the homicides of Mr. Zorro and Gregory Hall. He likely had something to do with the disaster at Brendam Docks, since one of his earlier jobs was working demolitions in a quarry. As an aside, the final count from that calamity was 56. Needless to say, Robert denounced his brother, calling him a murderer, a lunatic, and so much worse. There were whispers he might have been complicit in his twins' crimes, but these were never proven. He was able to weather these rumors and enjoyed a long, prosperous life on Sodor. In that time, he would marry a wonderful woman who gave him 2 beautiful daughters. Things would get better for us, though it was a hard road to recovery. We were very happy to see the end of 1965, and I'm pleased to say the years ahead were much brighter and filled with many changes. But those are stories for another day.